Hi everyone, Lucy here. It's always such a pleasure to spend some time with you to discuss and share insights around fundraising and resource mobilization. I'm a certified fundraising executive and a proposal development consultant. Now you see, despite the handwork and the dedication of our non-profit professionals, our fundraisers, our founders, the fact remains that they work under very complex fundraising landscape with a lot of challenges with limited funding. And so this is why this channel exists. In this channel, my mission is to empower you to change your mindsets, to equip you with the skills and the resources that you need so that you can transform your fundraising and secure funding and have greater impact. Today, we are going to discuss some of the common mistakes that small nonprofits tend to make when it comes to proposal writing. So, from having worked in the sector for quite some time and interacted with many nonprofits, some of the common mistakes include: one, applying for grants that you do not qualify for. So I have found that many small startups, many nonprofits, taking a lot of time writing proposals for grants that actually they do not qualify for, mainly because they are not eligible. Maybe they do not have the capacity that is needed, they do not have the expertise, they cannot show the track record of managing similar amounts of funds. There are many reasons but basically they do not qualify. And so it's important that you understand that donors fund organizations that have the capacity and that can manage resources. And you must be able to demonstrate your capacity. You must be able to demonstrate that you have the skills, you have a track record of managing funds. So before you start responding to a proposal or a call for proposal, kindly make sure that you meet the eligibility criteria. Let's not lie to ourselves that someone is likely to just like what I do. The fact remains that so many other organizations are doing what you do. I mean, that's the reality. I know at times we think we are the only people doing this, but so many people are doing it. And so if you are not at that point where you can say you are grant ready, you will just be wasting your time and energy and resources. And time is money, trying to respond to a call that you do not qualify for. So let's be open, let's be sincere to ourselves. I have seen this many times, even with relatively large organizations, and because at times it's difficult to evaluate ourselves, you can always reach out to me and I'll tell you if you qualify or do not qualify. All right, so the other key factor number 2 is resubmitting past proposals without reworking them. So I have had this theory many times where organizations tell me they do not need to do a design workshop, they do not basically need to design and rewrite because they have a clear model of how they work and they have written proposals in the past. So all what they need is to change the name of the donor, make basic changes and submit. And this is where we go wrong so many times, because every call for proposal is different. Every proposal has to be aligned to the particular requirement of the donor at this particular time. A lot of things keep changing, the landscape keeps changing, we are learning new things every day, approaches keep changing, and so it just doesn't make sense to say we have a proposal and we just need to resubmit. I have, in my experience, have never been able to reuse a proposal. Yes, some components you can take, but you cannot submit the proposal as it is fully. So let's not convince ourselves that we don't need to redo. Grant writing is a tedious process. It requires realigning a lot of things. It's just like your CV. If you really want to get a job, you have to standard your CV and realign it to the needs of that particular job. So let's remember that. The other thing I see a lot is that we are reactive and not proactive. So many times you'll find people writing the proposal the last minute. When I was in training one time, a trainer taught me that if you are not aware that a call for proposal is going to be out in the next few months, if you didn't have that knowledge 6 months before or prior to that, some of these calls, not for every call, but some calls, especially the very huge calls, if 6 months you are not aware about it, then there's a problem and you're likely not to have adequate time to prepare. So preparation starts way before the call for proposal is out, so that when the call for proposal is out, it's really realigning ourselves and seeing what is it that what are the key areas that we need to realign. It's about reviewing our concepts and reiterating and really giving it out to other reviewers to check our work, to check the quality. It's quality control. Most of the time, once the call for proposal is out, a lot of times you not go into preparing, because you should have prepared way before it was out. And so you find 3-4 days before the proposal submission date, you find people are still drafting. And so what that means, there will be no time for rethinking, re-strategizing, realigning, quality checks. There will be no one to review your work because it's the last minute. So this many times really is a disadvantage to us, and we need to be more prepared, more proactive if we want to be successful in our grants. The other thing is that we tend to skip the time for review and reiteration. Now, this is because of poor planning, definitely. We have no time for review, and we do not at times give it attention. As long as you've done the first draft, it's ready for submission. The review process is perhaps the most important time or the most important phase in your proposal writing. Of course, the planning is very important and takes much time before, but once the call for proposal is out, you need to make sure you put together your draft as fast as possible and spend more time reviewing and improving on it and checking the quality. But unfortunately, many of us skip this phase. And when we skip this phase, we end up with proposals which have a lot of errors, which are not clear, missing information. We have proposals that you can barely understand, because you may write and you may be able to understand what you've written, but you need to give it someone else and ask, do you understand? Is my ask clear? Is my problem clear? Are my activities clear? Do I communicate? So we are told, preferably give someone who is not even within your team, someone outside, and ask them, read this proposal, tell me what you understand. If they cannot understand what you're asking for, if they do not understand what problem you're addressing, then you go back to the drawing board and rewrite and realign. So make sure you do that. So as soon as the call for proposal, as soon as you actually start writing, identify people to review your work, inform them, advisors, technical experts in that area, let them be ready and let them review your work on time. The other key gap I see is that we ignore the role of relationships and donor engagement in proposal writing. So we go to funds for NGO, we see a call for proposal, and we immediately think, we can respond to this. And in many cases, you have no idea who this donor is. You have never interacted with them. You do not know anything about them. So there's purely no donor engagement. And so we spend a lot of time responding to calls for proposals or to grants that are never going to be read by anyone. Especially if you're writing to a foundation, there has to be a relationship. But generally, we say you need a relationship. In my course, I teach the 4 phases of the fundraising cycle. Please familiarize yourself with the fundraising cycle if you have not. First is to identify your donors. 2 is to build relationships. 3 is to ask. And this is where the proposal writing part falls in. It is in the asking, in the solicitation phase, which is phase 4. And the last one is stewardship. So make sure you check out that. And if you want to learn more, you can always reach out to me. We have many courses that help you to understand these phases. But what I'm trying to say is, ideally, you need to respond to calls for proposals to donors that you have prior engagement with, that you have built relationships with, donors that know you. People give money to people they know. Even you do not give money to just anyone who comes along the way. And that's a fact, that's a reality. Can you get funding by donors who have never heard about you? Yes, it is possible, but very rarely. And what happens is you spend a lot of your time writing proposals. You write 20 proposals, you get one funded. That's not good use of your resources. Use your resources building relationships. That's the right way. Once you build your relationships, move to the next stage of submitting your proposals. And with that, I want to really thank you for being here today, for listening to me. If you found this helpful, kindly like, subscribe, and also share it with your colleagues so that we can all learn about these tips. Also, I would love to hear from you, so kindly leave your comments and your questions in the comment section. And let's meet again in the next video. But before I go, I take this moment to also offer you a free masterclass on ultimate guide of writing proposals. So in the masterclass, I share how to write compelling proposals, because it's not just about being technical, it's also understanding the language, the conversational approach in writing proposals. So kindly check it out, and let me see you in the next video. Thank you.